Hey guys, today we are going to talk distance swimming and how less is more can apply to that. Crazy, I know, but let's find out. Mateo, grab your coffee. The rest of you, grab your popcorn, lightly salted, no butter because we're in training, of course. Strap in, let's go. Okay, distance swimmers suffer the most from this old school mentality of more is more. We look at sprinters and we're like, they're kind of a weird animal. They can get away with screwing around with their toys and their drills for a few hundred and getting out and going hitting the weight room because they just got to go down the pool or down the pool and back. But milers, they got to put in the miles. No, nothing could be further from the truth. A lot of the same principles that apply to sprinters can apply and should apply to distance swimmers. A sprinter who is doing a 50 or 100 in a race, why do they need to do 5, 6, 7,000 in a practice? They don't. Similarly, a distance swimmer who is swimming a mile in a race, why do they have to do 6 or 7 miles in a practice? There is no good justification for it. It's the definition of overkill. But we've gotten into this cycle where we think, oh, okay, this is what has to be done. Look at these people who have succeeded doing it. No. Quality is way more important than the quantity. Now, I'll grant you, that is true more for sprinters than it is for distance swimmers. But it is still more important how you swim each yard than how many yards you swim. And the best example, I love picking on 100 100s. But any of that kind of stuff, whether it's 50 100s or 100 100s or an 8,000 IM or whatever it is, what is the justification for doing that besides mental and physical toughness? You can get far more out of doing 20 or 30 if you got 100s that are executed really well. Great turns, great push-offs, great technique, than slogging your way through 50 or 100 100s just to what? Say you did it? There is no application for that many 100s to doing a single mile in a race. When I'm working with distance swimmers, I apply the same cyclicality that I use in my training, which is a 3-1 cycle. So 3 or maybe 4 weeks for distance swimmers, depending on who the person is, of hard, high-intensity training, followed by 1 week of recovery. That 1 week of recovery looks different depending on who the swimmer is. A middle-aged, miler who is training that hard for 3 weeks, they need to back way off on the volume and way down on the intensity for that week. A high school miler who isn't in the weight room and doing all that stuff and just can handle the volume better, their volume comes down a little bit for that recovery week and the intensity comes way down. Let's look at what a typical week within those 3 or 4 weeks might look like Monday through Saturday. Here is the big picture overview of a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are in the gym, but it looks a little bit different depending on the age of the swimmer. A high school level swimmer is not going to be doing the big lifts like deadlift and squat and presses and those kinds of things. I don't recommend that for high schoolers. As I said in my How to Get Recruited video, it does not make you as attractive if you go to a college coach, and you say, look, I'm already training like I'm in college. They want to see room for growth. And so with high schoolers, I focus much more on body weight exercises, particularly push-ups, pull-ups, body weight squats, lunges, that kind of stuff. Now with adult swimmers, we'll get into the deadlifts and squats and presses and things like that. But in both cases, it's much more functional, focused on endurance and speed, and a lot less on strength than for, say, a sprinter, because we don't want to bulk up. Monday and Friday in the water are about the same volume as the really high intensity Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday practices, but the intensity is way less. They're still difficult, but in a different way, you'll see in a second. They're more focused on skills, drills, discipline, breath control, that kind of thing. Wednesday, I typically pull back on the volume, particularly for an adult swimmer, a little less, but still some for a high school swimmer, because the idea is to work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so hard that you kind of need that midweek break. And I usually push a bit more in the weight room. So every day is still very hard. I just try to pull back a little bit on Wednesday in the pool. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, those are the really hard ones. So let's look at what a typical practice might be for each of those different days. Monday and Friday look something like this. About 1500 warm up, and then we go into 1 minute of vertical dolphin kick. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's a great exercise where you are vertical in the water, head is out the whole time, so you're not moving forward or backwards, you're staying in place. Hands, depending on how good you are at this, go either underwater, if you're not good, to give you some stability, but preferably at least across your chest. If you're really good at it, hands out of the water or elbows out. And what this does is increases the efficiencies of your kick so that you're as productive as possible with each kick. Because when you think about it, if you're going underwater or you're on a board, all you're really concerned with is going forward, but you don't know if you're being efficient or not. If you're not efficient on this, you sink. So great exercise. One little tip, pay attention to the water around you. If there's a whole bunch of ripples, wakes, and water splashing up on your face, you're doing way too much upper body back and forth. You got to control that, keep it still. All the action should be happening down below with those hips. So 1 minute of that, 30 seconds of rest so you can get ready for 5 100s freestyle on an interval that gives you about 30 seconds of rest. And the goal on this is breathing every 3 and execute really, really well. 3 to 4 dolphin kicks off every wall, great pushes, great flip turns. Going right into 25 underwater dolphin kick on about 45 seconds to a minute, depending on how good you are at it. But that 25 is fast and as far as you can go underwater. Then 25 easy. We do it again, 1 minute vertical dolphin kick, 30 seconds of rest, but 4 100s this time. And we bring the breath control down a bit. And so it looks something like 4 breaths, 3 breaths, 2 breaths, 1 breath by 25. And if you hear that and you're like, there's no way in hell I can do that, then you adjust accordingly. But what we're looking for is a descending breath. Right into 25 underwater dolphin kick, fast, 25 easy. We go through it again. 1 minute vertical dolphin kick, 30 seconds of rest, 3 100s. And this time we bring the breath control down a little more. So if you did 4, 3, 2, 1, then we're looking for maybe 3, 2, 1, 0. Underwater dolphin kick, fast, 25 easy. We go through it again. 1 minute vertical dolphin kick, 30 seconds of rest, 2 100s, and we bring it down. If you were 3, 2, 1, 0, then maybe we're looking at 3, 1, 1, 1 or 3, 1, 1, 0, right into 25 underwater dolphin kick, 25 easy. We finish up with 1 minute vertical dolphin kick, 30 seconds of rest, and 1 100 with as few breaths as you can do, trying to finish on a high note. So not going 0, 0, 0, 5. 25 underwater dolphin kick fast, 25 easy. Now, if you are hearing all of this and going, why does a miler need to be doing dolphin kicks and breath control? They don't do any dolphin kicks in a race and they breathe every stroke. It's a fair question. To which I would say, this is about building up discipline and those little details that add up to huge improvements in your time. You don't want to be that miler who's doing the double breath into the flip turn or the breath as you flip, both of which are killing your speed going in, killing your speed going out. You don't want to be that swimmer who's so hypoxic that they can't even push off, no dolphin kicks, just push off and get to the flags. And so you're coming up early and burning more energy than you have to, and it's hurting your overall time. You want to be like Bobby Fink in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, where going into the last turn of the mile, the guy from Germany was ahead of him by good body length. Guy from Ukraine was ahead of him. Germany flips, does 2 dolphin kicks, but they were token dolphin kicks, just boop, boop, nothing. The guy from Ukraine flips, you can't even call it a token dolphin kick. It was just a flip of the feet, nothing. Fink flips and does just 2 dolphin kicks, but they were powerful, productive dolphin kicks. Took him right past the guy from Ukraine, closed most of the gap on the guy from Germany, and then his tempo was just insane going home, and he won the field. So that is the reason we do this kind of stuff. It's so you can have a strong finish, and not just a strong finish, but a strong race throughout, where you don't feel like you're just desperate for air or your legs are dying because they're not used to doing really strong push-offs. That's the reason to do this kind of stuff. Tuesday is going to be a variation of the 50 set. And if you don't know what the 50 set is, that is where we go 4 rounds of a 50 fast, 3 50s easy, and then 4 rounds of 1 fast, 2 easy, 4 rounds of 1 fast, 1 easy, and then 4 fast 50s. And I love that set, even for distance swimmers. They can do it about once a month. Sprinters, maybe, I do it about twice a month. But for this, we're gonna make that set a little bit more distance oriented, and we're gonna tweak it to be a little bit longer. So we're gonna start off with 4 rounds of a 200. And in this example, we'll assume that the swimmer is trying to hold minute pace for the mile. So their interval is going to be a 200 on 215, trying to hold minute pace, mile pace. Then it's 3 50s easy on 45. So you're not just gonna get to lay back and float. You're gonna have to, move somewhat quickly. Your heart rate's not gonna be able to come down much. Minute rest after the 4 rounds. Then we go 3 rounds of a 200 on 215, but we're bringing the pace down, mile pace minus 2. So if you were 2 minutes on the 200s, then about 158 on this. Then we're just doing 2 50s easy on 45. Minute rest after the 3 rounds, and we go 2 rounds of a 200 at mile pace minus 4, so about 156. Still on 215, 150 easy on 45. Minute rest, and then we finish with a single 200 fast. And I love doing this kind of training where your body has to step up and put up a really great effort, but then it gets a very active recovery. So the heart rate never really comes way down to resting like an anaerobic set. It stays up there, but you give your body just enough of a break that it can do an awesome job for that one effort, and you keep hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. And as you go through this, you've got to try to get faster, and that active recovery decreases as you go. So as you're going, like, application to a mile, you're starting off strong and you're finishing really strong. Thursday is for kicking, unless of course we did a really heavy leg day on Wednesday. But otherwise, let's assume that we didn't go heavy on Wednesday in the gym and on legs, and we're doing kicking. So after about 1500 warm up, we're going 12 50s with, preferably with the brick. If you're not familiar with that, it is possibly the greatest invention since the sport itself was created. It weighs 6 pounds. I may or may not have had a hand in creating it. Shameless plug, yes, I know. But with or without the brick, we're going 12 50s on an interval that gives you about 20 seconds of rest, and they're best average. After that, we give our legs a little bit of a break. We go 625s drill on 45 seconds to a minute, depending on your proficiency. If that sounds like a lot of time to you, that's okay. It's just because we are conditioned to think that drills should be on a fast interval too, like 50s on 45, where we're doing 1-arm butterfly or double-arm backstroke that's totally worthless. Take the time to actually work on your weaknesses during these 625s. Then we go 6 100s, kick, best average. Still an interval that gives you about 20 seconds of rest. So we have doubled the distance, but we're keeping the amount of rest you get the same. 625s drill, again, then we go 3 200s. Best average, kicking, again, interval that gives you about 20 seconds of rest. 625s drill, then we finish with a single 600 fast and 625s drill. If you are wondering why all this kicking, well, Bobby Fink, 2020 Tokyo Olympics. All 3 of those guys, the German guy, the Ukrainian, and Bobby Fink, they all had a really strong kick through the race. But that last 50, they turned it up, and it was really impressive to see. Fink had the best kick of them all, But that is why we do this kind of work, because you can't put all the burden on your arms for a mile. And last but not least, Saturday. This is where we pull out those traditional sets that we all know and love, like 2100s. But let's talk about alternatives to doing that many hundreds on one set interval. Let's say you are able to do 2100s on 110, but it's kind of a shit show and it's very touch and go. But you want to get to a point where it's not a shit show. So what you can do is alternate your intervals. 2100s, odd ones are on 140, even ones are on 110, but you are still holding pace throughout. So, maybe some 103 to 105, something like that. And what this does is it allows your body to just enough of a break to kind of reset, collect itself, and put up another good effort. It improves your aerobic capacity, and over time, you can bring down that interval. Another one, 3 1000s. Oftentimes, this kind of a set is a touch and go kind of set, like on 10 minutes. And except at the most elite levels, it's usually a slog fest. It's survival. What I prefer to do instead is to work in active recovery. And so after each 1,000, it might be 425s drill on a minute. Gives you the 1,000 is still on a tight interval, but the 425s gives you your body time to recover a bit. It allows you to remind your body what good technique is, and then you hit the next 1,000, hopefully, in a better place. So I hope that all of this has given you distance swimmers out there some good ideas for your training. If you are a sprinter, it has probably reminded you why you're a sprinter. But either way, I hope it's giving you some good ideas. Until next time, good luck, swim different.